Jason Ricks is coming up here to share with you a little bit about his background in the industry, how he got started with libertyfund.io. And I just want to say this one more time as well. I'll remind you guys later. Please interact on this call. Use the chat box. That's what we're going to use for Q&A. If you have any questions for Jason during or throughout his presentation, that's where it's going to be. And also feel free to just unmute your mic and ask a question at any point. With that being said, if your mic is on right now and you are not Jason, please mute it. And here we go, Jason. The floor is yours.
Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate having me on, Adam. You know, when Adam first reached out to me and said, hey, would you mind sharing your journey? I told him, well, you know, it's not really a love affair, especially at first. So it definitely wasn't love at first sight. My partners that are on this call know I was really skeptical about the concept at first. And, you know, we joke around, but in the institutional real estate world where I come from, blockchain is just, it's just really perceived in the world with a negative stigma. And I think partly because a lot of uneducated people just associate blockchain with cryptocurrency. And I certainly fell into that camp. I think blockchain has a really bad marketing problem. And I think a lot of people get confused around the concept. And so the guys that I really like to follow, whether it be like a Dalio or a Buffett or a Diamond, you know, haven't really spoken favorably about cryptocurrencies. So I was kind of blindly following these experts, and I just put my head down and I really just wanted to focus on what I do best, which is really the real estate component. And a little bit about me and my background. I've been in the commercial real estate space now for about 12 years. And I've worked for all different types of ownerships, whether it be private wealthy individuals to institutions. And as I kind of grew in my career, we started overseeing from an asset management standpoint, larger portfolios, primarily with my focus being more on the retail side of things. So a lot of retail leasing, development, sales and acquisitions. And a lot of the mentors that I followed at the time, we did this tried and true concept, which is just a basic syndication. It's a 506B. Really simple idea. You go out and find an opportunity, a property, you raise US dollars, and you usually pay those folks back on a preferred return. And then there's a share of the pie after we reach that preferred return. So I really wanted to kind of follow in those footsteps. And that's how Michael and I kind of started Concordia Equity Partners, with that kind of message in mind. My first intro into blockchain was, Michael and I, we had this idea around this fund, and we had the thesis where it's like, I think we could go more medical, more essential services, less retail. And he was like, I think you need to kind of understand this blockchain stuff. It may revolutionize kind of our industry and what we're doing. And so he wanted me to kind of further explore the concept. And look, I'm a really, really conservative guy. So I love cash flow. I love the things that I know. And I love kind of tangible assets that I can see and feel. And with my idea at the time, I thought cryptocurrency is not really being backed by anything. It was a really strange concept for me to get my head wrapped around. So watching all the wild swings of the ICOs in 2016 and Bitcoin and Ethereum and the way it was marketed, it just didn't feel like an investment for me, especially with my risk tolerance. So that, and then I'm also self-deprecating. I still own an iPhone 5 over here. I'm still rocking it. So not the most tech savvy guy in my life, but I guess the big moment for me, like the aha moment for me, was just loving this idea of a security token and just kind of all the flexibility it generated and created for investors. To me, it takes the best of both worlds, right? You have this stock tradability to it, which is really unique. And then you have the advantages of private ownership with all the tax advantages, and kind of merges them together. So to walk you guys through a little bit of my investment journey, I invest a lot in what I would say traditional real estate funds or individual properties. And you're really kind of married to that property and to that sponsor for the entirety of the ownership. And that could be 5, 10, 15 years, easy. And you have little to no say on when you get your investment back, which you just kind of took that for what it was, because this is the way the business has always been done. And plus you have these really sticky things in these contracts that that are called capital calls. So this doesn't happen very frequently, but let's say the property got into some tough times. The sponsor may have to call me, one of the investors, and say, hey, Jason, you got to, fork up another 25, 50K into this deal to keep it alive. So there's a lot of downsides to the traditional private real estate fund. And kind of where I see it going now, and I'll be honest, I wondered after I kind of figured all these things out about the security token, I thought, why are people not waking up to this idea and to this concept? To date, even when I look for investments on security tokens within real estate, I don't see the best offerings, in my opinion, just using my real estate eyes and my experience. It's obviously still growing, but it feels like to me that it's more focused on the tech than it is the actual quality of the real estate. So that's why I think it's so cool that we're in this position that we're in today. And I'm really excited about it and passionate about it, that we have some amazing partners that kind of really blend their expertise in the blockchain world and can help kind of merge that for Michael and me. For us in our gray hair and things like that have been in the real estate business for a while. So I'm really excited to see more of these legitimate real estate offerings come to fruition. And especially with the headlines that we're seeing today, whether it be like the Vanguards of the world, the Fidelities, and other large institutions finally getting into the space. So it's an exciting time, especially for the security token area.
Thank you, Jason. And yeah, I think, like I said, your story really, I believe, is going to resonate with a lot of individuals who have not thought this way before. We're grateful that Michael was able to reel you in.
Yeah.
Michael, was there any commentary on Jason's story you want to share with us?
No, he talks about people with gray hair, and I'm really one of the only ones on the call with gray hair. And, but I was the one that was dragging him into the 20th century. So
Michael did a good job of, he was like, Jason, Michael and I have this thing. Well, it's really Michael has this thing with me. He'll just throw me books and white papers, podcasts to read all the time. So I'm always catching up to what he's doing. But he did a really good job. He was like, Jason, just read these white papers and then also read this book and come and talk to me. And so naturally, when I did that, I kind of learned about these benefits, and I was just shocked that more people weren't kind of interested in the space.